This is an all hands on deck moment across the world. Myself, Brad Wozny of the Sovereign Soul Show, and Scott McKay of Patriot Street Fighter joining forces once again to live stream with Katie Pasitny, the second generation of a third generation farming family, British Columbia, Canada, on why is this important for the world? Because this is ground zero right now in Western society for Agenda 23. WHO themselves, Canadian Cabal, and the RCMTP Gestapo are literally terrorizing this family. And it's because these ostriches' antibodies have shown and been proven to heal from the Wu flu and potentially be a natural cure for cancer. More remains to be seen, which is why RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz have said the FDA and NIH will pay Canada to get it tested, and then they will give the ostriches in this family asylum in the United States. This has implications for the entire world. The whole world is watching, and this is an issue which affects all of our generations, all of our children, and ourselves in food security right now. Please share this, watch, and join us. Well, welcome back to the Sovereign Soul Show and Patriot Street Fighter with Scott McKay, all of you mega awake patriots around the world. I'm the host, Brad Wozny. We stand for love, levity, and liberty. And we are joined by an absolute divine lioness, Katie Pasitny. And I was just live with her and her family yesterday at the Universal Ostrich Farm in Edgewood, BC, with a massive RCMP Gestapo presence. And she's going to get into the massive surveillance and drones overhead. The sovereign community, I've spoken with them, and I've spoken with the high-level special operators in both America and the UK, and we will be taking sovereign actions at $10 million in personam on every officer, and you'll see why, as well as the CFIA. Now, that's separate of what's going on at ostrich farms, because right now it's ground zero. As we said, for Agenda 2030, we don't mix it up whatsoever. Scott, welcome to you, and over to Katie. So why don't we go to Scott real quick as to why he got involved on a phone call with me last night as I was leaving the farm, and why he thinks this is important for patriots. And we'll go to Katie to describe to you the absolute terrorist mentality that the RCMP and the CFI Gestapo who are there they've been raining upon her lovely mother, her and her family. Over to you, Scott.
Yeah, Katie, good to meet you. I saw you on maybe a Facebook post or something 3 days ago, and I was pissed off. I mean, once again, here we have this criminal cartel. This is a modern day governmental slaughterhouse that is being operated by these governments around the world. They do that shit here too. They want to kill all the Mustangs that they can on federal land. They want to mRNA vaccinate the entire beef population. I can see these ice holes chasing fish upstream during salmon run season, trying to get needles in salmon eventually to get an mRNA in them, because those of us who refuse to take a kill shot are trying to find ways to take us out. In your situation where you have these beautiful prehistoric creatures that obviously are beautiful animals, and the animals you have a relationship with, I think you have 400 of them up there. They want to come in again with this idea, a parallel idea to bird flu. Bullshit. It's all bullshit. They want to, they've murdered millions of chickens in this country. This is an attack on the food chain here. But here, in your case, ostriches have these antibodies that are very valuable for medicinal purposes to combat some bioweapons that they're hitting us with. So they come up with a scheme, and you can fill us in on the details. This is what I'm reading into. They come up with one of their schemes where they send in hit squads, SWAT teams in the middle of nowhere where you live, where you and your mother and a few people are, and hours away from any tiny little town that even has a stop sign. And they come up here, and with impunity, they think they can just come into your farm, tell you they're going to kill your animals for some bullshit reason, and then they roll in command centers like it's like this is an active shooter situation. And this is so, pardon my French, fucking absurd that this kind of nonsense is going on, where you're put at gunpoint, threatened at gunpoint by SWAT teams to get out of your car. because they want to murder your birds. I mean, folks, when do we put an end to this bullshit? When do we put this criminal element of government under our boot heels, face down in the dirt, and hold them there until we get cuffs on them and put their ass in jail? Everything that they're doing, even with the Canadian Constitution up there, all of this is criminal, illegal, unlawful activity. But because these are government agencies with unlimited power and resources, whoever the cabal controllers are there are fulfilling their agenda, likely UN 2030, and they're trying to crush your food supply, anything that's against big pharma. And here you're dealing with it to where they just want to come in and murder your stock, and they just get away with it. So here's where they fucked up. When you get the attention of the podcast world out there that have been involved in active digital warfare against this global Khazarian mob, it changes things. It puts the brakes on things because now they know they're under the watchful eye of millions of people who are pissed. And the one thing about these criminals is they're scared shitless of their people and their populations, because if they unify and they stand up and rise up against this constant tyranny, they know sooner or later some spark's going to hit that powder keg and it is over. The best thing they can do is run for the hills and get the hell out of Dodge, like every desperate dictator on the planet does when their people finally have had enough, rise up. They never stand their ground. They have no conviction or principles. And these cowards always run. They grab as much of the people's wealth as they can, truck it out of the country, go into exile, and hide like cowards, because that's what they are. The entire political realm in this country, in the US, Canada, and the world, they're all cowards. They're all cowards. Anyways, I'm really sorry to see this is happening up there on your farm, but I mean, this one takes the cake. I mean, what they're doing here and around the world, wiping out the food supply, attacking the protein chains like they are, spraying everything on the planet to either infect us through their aerial chemtrails or what they're spraying on crops. I mean, they're hitting us from every angle possible. But this to me is like a tipping point. What I see that they're trying to do to you up there and these beautiful creatures in Canada is a tipping point, and nothing's going to get done until we the people in a united fashion blow the fucking gasket. That the thing that this is a disadvantage you Canadians have. The Second Amendment is the only thing that's keeping this world from descending into the pit of hell. If the United States didn't have the Second Amendment and we didn't have 750 million guns in this country, this world would have been lost a couple generations ago. The sad thing is, for you in Canada, they outlaw having anything to defend yourself, weapons. But that is the one thing that at some point, and I believe in this country, is coming very soon, like this year, people are going to finally start pulling their weapons out. Because they're going to launch active terrorist operations here with Al-Qaeda networks in the U.S. I'm going off the rails here, but I'm trying to pull the reins back on myself so I don't blow my stack here.
It's all connected.
That's that Cherokee blood. That's that Cherokee blood fire coming out. We appreciate that, Scott. Speaking of it, you already told the audience a little bit about what happened. Katie was in my arms crying with the story of what they did to her and her mother in person 72 hours ago. Would you mind sharing that story here, Katie? And I know it can get emotional, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, I think I've had to talk about it a few times this morning. It's I think everything's been emotional. It's the sacrifices, it's the leading up, it's the relationships and meeting new people, seeing the sacrifices that everybody else has made to be here and stand with us. And we are at a breaking point now, with the tipping point of where we're at. And so the biggest point, I think the day when we knew we were waking up, we were getting calls that all of these police officers were flooding into Vernon, and hotels were filling up, parking lots were filling up with police cars. And so the world was watching, and we had people with eyes on those police cars, and they were letting us know when those police cars were going to roll out. You go to bed and you're sleeping and you're waiting for that text message from the supporters saying they're on the move. Then we knew we had about an hour and a half just to get mentally prepared for what we were about to go through. And and then we got about another call out about a half an hour after, half an hour before they got here. So we were a half an hour. And then we were all, my mom and I and a business partner were standing out in different parts of the farm with the ostriches. And it was cold and it was damp. It was just this movie atmosphere of just dreary. You don't know what to expect. You're in the trenches waiting for them to come across and watch along the highway, just line, headlights after headlights after headlight after headlight of police cars, counting up to 40, 50, and going, we're 135 kilometers away from a major city. The city that they left, we're 135 kilometers away. And this is how much force they brought. They have a task force. They have a command center. They have helicopters that fly. They have drone flying squad with multiple drones. They're doing daytime and nighttime monitoring with their drones on our family and the farm. And so here we have these vehicles coming down. They took them a while. There were some negotiations that were happening at the end of the road when they first got here. After a few hours, about noon, they came across the lines. And then it just became a little bit of a negotiation between our family and them. Jeff Goddery has been on site, busting his butt, just trying to be that positive communication between both sides, bridging a gap, hoping that we could get somewhere. And it's kind of ended in about a day of us just being in the pens, saying that we weren't leaving. My mom saying, I'm not leaving my babies. They're my animals. They're not your animals. They're healthy, 5 days healthy, never tested. Not one of the ostriches on our farm tested. And then they just stood out there. We fed the one day. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency stood outside of the fence, breaking multiple quarantine measures. They were in the hot zone in their RCMP clothes. There was no hazmat suits, no PPE. And we finished our chores that day. We slept out with the birds. The next day was the second day. What day are we? Friday. So our days this week has been a busy one. Woke up and we wanted to do chores again. We just wanted to feed the birds humanely, keep a natural routine there, keep them calm, no anxiety with all these strangers coming in and moving equipment and drones. We wanted the humane option just to continue to feed our animals, to keep them calm until they were about to go through one of the hardest times of their lives. And finally, we got the okay.
President Trump, this is a crop.
And when we got the okay to go feed, our buckets headed to the back part of the farm to continue to feed, and got swarmed by police cars and got told we were under arrest. So we were baited. We were baited to the back. They didn't want it videoed. They didn't want it to be out there that the world would watch. Just humble farmers, not criminals, humble farmers that love their animals and want the best for Canadians all across Canada and our agricultural sector, that we were being arrested for feeding our animals that they told us to go feed. So
Katie, do you mind if we show the video, the one that got my attention, Brad? I think that's really important. People need a visual of what this place looks like, these beautiful animals, so they can understand and make the connection with. You have to unmute that, Brad. It's you're muted on that.
Yeah, as soon as you're done. Yeah, so here it is. This is 3 days ago, right after that event happened.
As you know, I know you know.
Refresh this.
Get unmuted again.
A plea from Canada. Please stop the slaughter of almost 400 healthy ostriches that are going to suffer today or tomorrow. We need a miracle. The world has been calling on a miracle. This is of interest, as you know, I know you know. Yeah, you would say hello. They are claiming that these animals are virulent and that have a virus and that they're sick, but instead these ostriches hold the key to humanity with their antibodies that can help with therapeutics and new innovative science that can actually make us less reliant on vaccinations and pills. This is for our children. This is for our grandchildren. This is for freedom. This is for hope. All of our animals have names. Our oldest is 35. And Carney, Mark Carney, nobody will listen. All of our politicians have just turned a blind eye. Please help us, President Trump. Please help us in Canada. The world needs you right now. We need leadership. We admire your leadership and we are calling on you. Please, please help us. At Universal Ostrich Farms in Edgewood, British Columbia, we are asking for a miracle. Thank you from Katie Pasitny.
Folks, I got to say this. You look at these beautiful creatures that God created for a reason. And once again, this Khazarian cabal wants to wipe out, murder anything good under the color of law. All this bullshit is outside of the boundaries of their lawful actions. They always claim it's to protect us, to protect society. We all know it's bullshit. And my question always is, when are the rest of you going to stand up? Why is there not 5,000 to 10,000 people up there in Canada, like the convoy, trucking their way out there to get eyes on these bastards? Because and you people that are in the police force up there that are part of this, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You do not deserve the badge they put on you. You should all be stripped of this. You understand what tyranny is unless they brought you in because that's the kind of person you are. But you should not be honoring orders like this. I don't care if you have a job and you need a paycheck. You are facilitating the takedown of humanity with this bullshit. It's happening all over the world, but in Canada, you're right across the border. This is why Canada needs to be the paperwork all cleared out and all the bullshit of being under the rule of the British Crown, and Canada being recognized legitimately as it currently is as part of the United States and be made the 51st state, because it always has been. And then that way, the Second Amendment now applies in Canada. And then you can, and that's why these incursions don't go this far in the United States. When they do, and Bundy's proved it, when they were pulling their bullshit with Bureau of Land Management, who they arm like the military out there in Nevada, been constantly encroaching on ranchers' lands, who've been there for 150 years, multiple generations, continuing to seize land because they want mineral rights, until finally the Bundys and about 120 ranchers showed up on horseback, drew a line in the sand, and said, this is it. We're not giving up one more inch, and we're going to fight today. People are going to die today. We are done with this government encroachment. You know what happened? They stood down. Why? Because enough BLM soldiers out there probably got the idea that, okay, corral is going to happen right there, and people are going to die. The ranchers were willing to die. The guys who they're sending out to do their dirty work, the politicians, most of those guys aren't willing to die. If they know bullets are going to start to fly, because Americans are going to use their Second Amendment rights to defend themselves from this kind of tyranny, which is why the Constitution was written and why the Second Amendment was put in there, to keep us or keep these assholes under our thumb in government. And obviously it's gotten out of control in the United States. But I get so enraged by this bullshit, because these are cowards that are using absolute power of weaponry on innocent people that can't defend themselves, so they can murder their stock. This is no different than Bundy's out there, but the Bundys had the ability to bring their arms, bring their horses, and then show the whole world, let's do this. And then you're going to see what you've seen for years. Ruby Ridge in the United States, murdering Randy Weaver's wife, his child, killing the animals, burning to death 83 people down at Waco. Janet Reno sends in U.S. Army tanks, and they attack that place for people that were doing nothing wrong. This is the encroachment that continues in this country, in this world. And until the citizens of this planet finally blow the gasket and are willing to amass in massive numbers every time this bullshit happens, it's going to continue, and it's going to continue until they take everything you have. Some people say, well, I don't have a dog in this fight. Hey, neither do I. Neither do I. I'm sitting down here in Texas. I have a dog in the fight because this is a fellow human defending one of God's creatures that they're trying to slaughter, just like they've done millions of birds in this country, attacking the supply chain. At what point do people in this world stand up while they're digging the ground out from beneath you so it collapses into the ocean? When do you stand up and say, we are not going to allow you to do this to any more of our fellow citizens? That's always my question here. Where are the rest of you in America? Where are the rest of you in Canada? You know what's going on here. You think that they don't have a plan for you. You may not have any stock or ostriches, but they've got a plan for you too. They have a different plan for people in a different situation. They're going to come sooner or later. And, sitting back doing nothing is like paying the cannibals to eat you last. You're going to get gone no matter what. And the sooner that you respond to this bullshit in force that they bring, and this is why Tactical Civics here in the U.S. is one of the primary warfare platforms of Patriot Street Fighter. We are amassing these forces in all the counties around the country to have chapters in every county. We have over half the counties now staffed with chapters to get to where we can push ordinances through, to have citizen grand juries, again, like the founders put in this Constitution, so we can hold these criminals hiding behind their corporate veil to account. And how do I know that will happen? Because we have the numbers. We can go up, we the people can go up against any of the forces of the tyrannical powers that be, and all the people that they can bring to the table. They can't match the sheer size and the passion and the will of millions of people who are already standing up in many ways. Anyways, I'm going to pull back the reins because this is my calm.
Keep the reins going, Scott, because one other thing that people aren't aware of is that in Canada, and I would imagine, fortunately now, because President Trump is in with MAGA, but in Canada, there are farmers who are afraid to stand up because they're targeted by CFIA to come in and eradicate their livestock. So the moment that other farmers in Canada stand up to join in this, then they're a targeted individual as well. So not only did they force Katie and Karen and their family's business closed during COVID, the pandemic, scandemic, and not only did they try to drain them, they also have a bioscience company on both sides of the border, and Katie can get into this, with a man who is known as Dr. Ostrich at Kyoto University with 36 patents and 100 research papers showing evidence that these creatures, these prehistoric, amazing creatures of the Creator, are here to help heal humanity. And that's another part. Remember what they did with us with ivermectin. Remember how they censored us on Scott lost like 43 YouTube channels and kept getting out there, and all of us. And now what they're doing here is representative of shutting everybody up, capping them with the lid. And to have, Katie told me yesterday, 140 police cars in a place where it takes 3 hours to drive into this community. It's not even a community. It's just a bunch of farms on a highway beside a lake that you have to take a ferry across the lake, because that's how the highway continues, because it's the interior of BC. 140 cop cars, a mobile command center, and the same type of RCMP Gestapo TAC unit. And I'm sure there's good guys and good gals everywhere. But the generalization I'm going to make is what we saw in Ottawa Freedom Convoy, where you swept women and children and peaceful, civilian non-combatants under the Law of War Manual with firearms that were loaded off safe as well, which itself not only is criminal malfeasance of 20 years in prison if you do that, but it also violates a whole other things too. So this is also a place where everybody needs to unite around the world, and Canadians need to unite too, who are awake, who have just been, they tried to eradicate you with the technological, biological, chemical, and freaking weapon that's been proven. And right now they're also trying to get rid of your livestock and force you to eat lab-grown meat with crickets, which have chitin, which is not even protein, which actually breaks down. And oh, by the way, as Katie and Karen pointed out, with part of the company they had, which has now been shut down by China, they had their own nutritional supplement, which was a dietary supplement. And guess what? From the ostrich eggs and these antibodies, it was an incredible diet supplement that beat Ozempic. And unlike Ozempic, with what we've seen, Gila monster venom, which paralyzes the stomach and causes a side effect of death in some cases, an all-natural solution as well too. So over to Katie.
Yeah, hi. That was a lot. I'm like, you guys wrapped it up so well. There's a lot said there. You know what we have here, I think, is that we're seeing that this is punishment. I've been saying that all morning now, and kind of yesterday, that this is a theatrical display of punishment for standing up, punishment for speaking out, punishment for wanting to create the change, and this is punishment versus justice. And so we've been very, very fortunate to have 255 days healthy, immune, full of antibody-rich ostriches that are still out there that have the ability to change the way we treat viruses and disease in the future. But they've also become a beacon of hope, and they've bridged borders. They've allowed international support to, converse with Canadians and other international support. And this has become a united topic. The ostriches became a perfect catalyst in this journey of change, and it is a war that we're fighting just for the ability to be able to use our system to benefit us and better us. But it's been very clear as well that the antibody research makes the most sense why they want us gone. There would be no other reason for this display of punishment, force, making a precedence out of us. That helicopters and the drones and the psychological warfare and the terrorism on us as a family. This is because we are too close to something too good when they want to continue to up their vaccines and the pills that we're supposed to take. We feel like we are living in a movie. It is, I have a paraplegic father at home. My mom is just always so giving and run off her feet. She's being stripped away from the rights to touch her animals and love her animals and check on them. We both got a no-go order, so we're not allowed on that side of the road until this is over, or October, and we have a court date. So another big
just so everybody understands, they're ordering Katie, Karen, the family not to walk on the other side of a dirt road to access their own animals and their property. Even though a First Nations tribe has stepped in, Scott, 2 days ago at the last hour and the last minute and said, these ostriches, these animals are under our protection. This land is under our protection. And the First Nations member in their notice said, all of you with police officer badges and are weaponized with firearms, leave this place. And guess what? That's also been ignored. But they won't let Katie and their family walk 20 feet in to see their ostriches.
Yeah.
I got a great idea that could solve this problem for a bunch of guys with badges and weapons and amped up on attitude. Why don't you guys go take all that force, fire, power, and bravado and start running down these fucking terrorists that you're allowing to come over the northern border in the United States? How about a use of resources to get something that really protects the people? Because you have done nothing to shut down the flow of Chinese and other nations terrorists coming into this country to attack us here. And believe me, when they're tracked back to you in Canada, but you know who's going to take an ass beating over this? The people in positions of power that allowed this to happen and probably facilitated a lot of this. As you can tell, my belief is the governments of this country and the world are a criminal cartel, a crime syndicate that's been operating this way for 100 years since they captured a banking system and captured the entire United States. This criminal activity goes on. And these people that are wearing these badges and doing this bullshit, you call yourself a Canadian or American, you're a joke. The founders would have you guys, you could just say, I was following orders, I was taking orders. They would have drugged your ass out into the woods, put you against a tree, and put you in front of a firing squad, because that is an act of treason, what you people are doing. And I can't believe that it's gone this far in our society that the citizens stand back, take this beating, you're not, and then the neighbors are sitting and watching them saying, I don't get involved because they're not doing anything to me, and I'm a little bit afraid of what might happen. Yeah. I don't understand this. I'm so pissed off, and this has nothing to do with me, but it's a constant invasion into the personal protected space given to us by our creator of these scumbags who claim that they have authority, power, a badge, but they're doing it for a paycheck. Bullshit. You're not pulling rank on us with that bullshit. You guys are criminals that are behaving this way, and it's sooner or later your badges are going to be stripped. When this whole thing kicks off, I got some intel, real information last night that it looks like we're headed for the jump off point in November here in the United States. And when that action begins, you think it's not coming across the border. You people that are doing this, you better rethink your position. and the decisions you're making. Because when it comes down to, I was just taking orders. Most of the world doesn't know this yet. They put a bullet in the back of Obama's head in Gitmo once he violated his contract. The military put him under for reneging on the contract. The one you see out there is not the real one. That's the fake one. They're going to arrest that pretty soon. They put a bullet in the back of his head. He was saying, all I did was take orders. I was taking orders. That shit didn't work on the president of the United States, and it won't work on you people when it becomes hammer time. So think about what you're doing here. And the citizens of this country in Canada aren't going to forgive you. They're not going to remember your names. You guys are no different than the brown shirts Hitler deployed everywhere. And you know who gets killed first once they get absolute power? They kill you. What do you think they did to the brown shirts? They killed them all. What do you think they do in countries where they use their bullshit to get people to do their bidding? The first people they kill are the ones that helped them get control, because then those people are going to realize, holy shit, they're going to inflict this on us too and our families. Exactly. So what do? They eliminate the problem before it happens. They take you out. You're the first ones that are going to go if they're successful. Lucky for you, they're not going to be, because we, the people, are rising. We're awake. The forces are amassing right now inside of government authority, backed up by the people, to put an end to this bullshit. Lucky for you, there are some brave patriots that are going to kick this thing off and back up the people that have the true authority to put this thing down. But just understand something. Nobody escapes and nobody walks away. This is going to be hung around your neck for the rest of your life. So you folks out there that are watching this happen, make sure you look at the badge numbers of these people, look at their names on their chests, and remember them. Write this shit down, because they need to answer for this when it comes to time for the end game on this thing.
That's what we have asked. We've said, it could be just as simple as you all walking hand in hand out of here. Set an example for the next generation. Set an example for Canadians. Show Canadians we can restore that trust between their RCMP and the people. This could have been a moment, and still could be a moment in history that is remembered forever, where the RCMP decide that they choose life, not death. And, they're to serve and protect. This isn't protecting. We don't have violent animals that are armed running around. They're not sick. So why are we killing them? And they should all be walking away saying, this is not what my job is. And so we're hoping through leadership and inspiration of just being out there with them and talking to them and educating them about the heinous crime that was about to be committed here by Canadian Food Inspection Agency, and they're still trying to commit. And even the RCMP is starting to watch how the Canadian Food Inspection Agency operates, and they're not, I think they're getting their eyes opened, because Canadian Food Inspection Agency operates with excessive freedom, no accountability. They have no empathy, and nothing makes sense with them. Nothing. There is no communication, lack of communication. We're farmers, we're not criminals. They are doing the wrong things. They're like a bunch of children running around with loaded handguns, and they're shooting aimlessly without any respect to what damage that's going to cause 2 to 3 years from now. And that would be taking down our agricultural sector, putting our food security at risk, and our generational, our farmers, and then obviously our children eating healthy, sustainable, nutritious food. And it's just kind of a snowball effect. And if we don't stop it here, and we have become ground zero here for change, it's a beautiful thing. It has a lot to offer the world if we can harness this energy and keep the momentum up. But we do have another stretch to go here. We only have an interim stay order, and we got to make it to the finish line. So we're gonna see how we get there.
And I'd like everybody to the poise. Just a moment, Scott, if you don't mind, my friend. I'd like everybody to notice the poise of a divine lioness who is standing there on behalf of all mankind, and how she still brings this out, having had maybe 2 hours of sleep last night. Military helicopters buzzing their home late in the mornings. They're getting terrorized because they have intimidation tactics. We were on with Major General Pauly Valley on the phone yesterday. He and the Stand Up America US Foundation are supporting this initiative, as well as RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz, who had dinner with President Trump 2 nights ago. For sure, this was a topic as well. So I just want to share with everybody. Here's an example, prime example of a family who is doing their own thing, doing for the greater good and being an incredible multi-generational farming family. And all of a sudden, 140 cop cars spent 3 hours in a convoy with a TAC squadron and unit and a mobile command center with helicopters, drones, and RF jammers and stuff I experienced there yesterday where the GPS doesn't work 5 kilometers out of their way, up and down. Suddenly, GPS doesn't work on the highway to find Universal Ostrich Farms in Edgewood, BC, off that highway. So, folks, take notice and get involved at the links below the description here and or in the chat. Okay, over to you, Scott. Thank you.
It's just another comment of me calling bullshit on our Christian brothers and sisters that run around quoting scripture all the time but never do shit. As I've been saying, Christianity is a full contact sport. It's a verb. It's an action word. And people run around saying, I am my brother's keeper. Okay, let's see if you're your brother's or sister's keeper. We got shit going on and nobody is coming in mass to defend their brother or their sister. What did Christ do? Christ took on the most powerful tyrannical force in the world, went right into their house, kicked their asses, beat some asses, busted tables, and threw them physically out. That's what a Christian is. So I get tired of the Christian community running around, go to church every Sunday and quoting scripture. I call bullshit. And again, I'm a born again Christian since I was 14, but I've sat back and watched this tyrannical sword come down on humanity. I'm 60 years old. I've watched this actively for 40 years and 35 years doing what I do today. I only finally come out in the open swinging back in 2020 when they stole the election. But the fact is, this shit doesn't end until our Christian brothers and sisters stand up and start acting and walking in Christ's shoes and behaving like Christ did and mounting an offensive against this tyrannical, satanically driven force. This is an energy field, a quantum realm of the darkest, lowest frequencies, utilizing people that don't have the capacity to exercise their own photonic light, their angelic light within inside them, i.e. these Gestapo-driven police officers and SWAT team members and the commanders that are sending this shit out there. That's cowardice. And you know what? You can stand in front of your creator when time comes and say, hey, sorry, God, I was just following orders. You think that's going to he'll buy into your bullshit? You ain't going to buy into any of it. And this is, again, me. I'm going to continue to call out my Christian brothers and sisters. Stop sitting back doing not a fucking thing and start defending your fellow human who is operating within the Christ consciousness to try to save their animals, save their own their country, and help us save the world. We should have millions of people in this country marching for various reasons in cities all over the country, but people are still sitting back waiting for somebody else to do it. I'm sorry, this gasket is leaking very badly today, but I am furious that these cowards show up with weapons and doing the bidding of these Khazarian scumbags who are put in the positions of authority to tell them what to do, and they do it.
Do you want to know the craziest thing? We were joking about it today. This all could have been solved by just like a $20 test. Test the animals. That's all we've been asking. Yeah. We test a few of the animals that are alive. That's all we've been asking. Instead, we're going to pay millions of dollars into our taxpayer dollars. We're going to buy semi-loads of hay to make a death, a wall so that nobody can see what's going to happen behind it. The overtime and the LOA and the task force and the helicopters. But we can't test our animals just to prove they're healthy or sick.
All that money. Yep. All that money. Yeah, that's a great point. Millions of dollars of Canadian taxpayer money that they do take from you at gunpoint, by the way. If you don't pay them the ridiculous tax percentages, then they come to your house with the same force to try to take your life, take your property. So they'll spend millions and millions of Canadian taxpayer dollars, and they could have spent $20. And Andrew's just saying, and allow these resources to go to something that actually counts, taking down real criminals. But no,
how about all these police officers that have been sitting here? There's been a child missing in Crow's Nest. And there's been,
Yeah.
maybe some of them want to go up and do some real work. Go find someone's baby. Go find someone's baby. We're not the criminals here. We're farmers. And it needs to be reminded that there is work out there to do. Maybe let's take some of the pedophiles and the murderers off our streets. Maybe let's go clean up and focus on helping the homeless. Not take down where we could have a cure for diseases and viruses in the future and attack a loving family who wants to see their animals live another day. Let's put our energy where it's needed, not in Edgewood, British Columbia.
Yeah, Canadian Patriots, there's a weekend coming up. This is Friday. And if you got nothing worthwhile in your life going on, start calling friends and neighbors, put together a convoy, pull some money together for gas, and drive a few hours and go up there and mount your own show of force. We're doing it here using our weaponry, our technology to get the word out there. And if you have any sense of being free, you got to defend it. And this is a primary way to show that these people that you're not fucking around anymore. You're going to take care of business. We, the people, have to take care of business, and you have to stand up to fight for somebody else. If you ever expect people to stand up and fight for you when that incursion comes to your front door, because it's coming sooner or later. The only way this stops all this bullshit is by the people. That's it.
Yeah.
The people have to stand up and rise up. If they can overthrow entire tyrannical, leftist governments around the world, just like they did in Nepal. I think it was Nepal. They the people stood up and overthrew a tyrannical government. I think they even killed them, possibly. They'd had enough. And those people got what they deserved. When you get a country to a point where the oppression is so aggressive and so all-encompassing, and you're pushing people to death doorstep, you get what's next. And those people, those leaders did. You got what's next. Anyways.
We did have some good news. So there was a couple things. We do have some good news. The Darwin Foundation is giving us an endorsement. This is fantastic news. We do have the conservatives out of British Columbia on board, taking some true leadership, actually standing up and getting a voice out into the House of Commons and the legislature. There has been some movement. And so we just love to see movement and love to see small miracles, because they really, really, really matter. Every day that there's a miracle, any small miracle is a big miracle here right now. And we just won that stay order just after prayer. That was very beautiful, and that was very cool. So
very good point. Yeah, you get millions of people, folks.
So
it is right now 12:45 Central Time, which is 1:45 Eastern. I'm going to make a call to anybody out there at 3 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Stop for 5 minutes on that mark at that time and just enter silent prayer for protection for Katie and these animals. Let's send the frequency, a massive incursion of the Christ consciousness descending down onto their dark, low frequency energy to start pushing them back. What it'll do is it'll affect them at the cellular level. The biology of these people will start feeling a little bit of doubt about what they're doing. I love this. Don't tread on me. That's awesome. So 3 p.m. today, Eastern time, 11 a.m. Pacific. Set your alarm. I'm going to do it myself, and I'm going to enter into silent prayer on Katie's behalf. Let's send that force across this border from the United States right into BC, right on top of this Gestapo. And let's see how they deal with that.
Yes, I love that. Thank you very much. I think it's the most beautiful idea, because prayer and energy, love and healing is what's got us here. It's been the support of so many that have just poured in nothing but love and prayer. Honestly, it's been such a long, almost 10 months, but have we ever learned a lot and gained a lot of momentum with some really great people, made amazing relationships and friendships along the way, and new family, honestly, for life. I know that I'll never see the world the same. than 10 months ago. And I'm blessed. I feel happier than ever that I'm not living in the dark anymore and that I understand the bigger picture. So it's kind of hard not to shut off the light switches once they've all been switched on.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, with every encouragement comes a unity movement. So, and I'm saying this to you cowards and criminals that are carrying out these orders. Every time you make an incursion into our righteous freedom, you're not going up against us. You're going up against the power of the Christ consciousness. Your same creator. You think you're not going to answer for this bullshit? Every time you push harder, you create a greater unity of the people against you. And there will be hell to pay eventually. So all of you people wearing these badges and carrying these weapons think you're consummate badasses who probably never really went into real forward operating areas in the Middle East or anywhere on the battlefields where it really count, where you could really prove how rugged and tough you are as a warrior. Going up against people that are unarmed and innocent and harmless doesn't make you a hero. It makes you a coward. If you want to conduct yourself that way, go in the fucking military and do something that really counts and see how brave you really are.
Yeah. A battalion of police, 140 cars, command unit and TAC unit for a grandmother and her daughter. You know, that's what we're seeing this against. And to recap a couple of amazing points here. Number one, Scott brought up, and I mentioned earlier about the sovereign side. So the sovereign side has already kicked into gear from the United Kingdom to America right now for the notices. However, what we need everybody to do who's there on the ground, who's listening to this, hears this, or watching this broadcast on either side, make sure you take good photos and get the names and the badge numbers of everyone who is wearing a badge or a member of the CFIA or designated a member of the government there. What you can do, not just write it down, but what you can do with that photographic evidence is you can post it to our X account or the Ostrich X account, and I'll take you over the screen with the hashtag brown shirt. Hashtag brown shirt. Because what we are doing is we are assembling, because a sovereign notice by a sovereign tribe, a signatory tribe, has been ignored. Where a First Nations tribe has come in and said, this land and these ostriches animals are under our protection, leave. That's been ignored. So now we step on to the sovereign side because we have witnessed harassment, terrorism. We are under the law of war manual still, under military occupancy. We have civilian non-combatants who are harassed, threatened. Their livelihood has been taken away, and they are surviving on donations right now because they have also canceled them, excuse me, as a business. So we are taking those sovereign notices, and for every law enforcement man or woman who fancies themselves a member of law enforcement or a member of CFIA or the government, and it goes up the chain, they're going to be receiving a $10 million UCC filing, which will be enforceable on them personally. Because again, this is natural law, like tactical civics, back to the Constitution. And for all the Canadians who are waking up to this, Canada has never been a country. I signed up and served in the Canadian infantry as a soldier thinking it was a country, right? Turns out it's a corporation registered in the SEC in Washington, D.C. We are actually under military occupation and oversight from the Secretary of War and the Pentagon, but we all need to do our part as peaceful civilian non-combatants. So if you take the photograph, but at least get the names and the badge numbers of all of these individuals, put hashtag brown shirt on our Telegram channel or our X account for the Sovereign Soul, and you can do so for Save Our Ostriches. Every man and woman will receive a $10 million binding in personam sovereign notice for trespass, harassment, terrorism, as well as all other operations under the TGP Treaty and the Law of War Manual. So that's happening. And then as a Reiki master and a Christian, a Reiki master a decade, practicing 25 years, and a Christian, I can tell you what Scott just brought out, what Pastor Archer Pawlowski supports as well, Bishop Jim O'Connor, is we put the Christed consciousness right across the sphere of Edgewood, British Columbia, and we uplift the vibration of that land and the people and all sentient life, and the cockroaches can't stand it and be in that vibrational state. And those who are kind of on the fence, they might join the light rather than serving the side of the dark. I'm going to take you over.
We're losing your audio, Brad, and video. You're freezing up.
Yeah.
Must be jamming them. They're getting this. They see
Yeah.
it happening, so they're trying to jam it. Too late, scumbags. The message is already out. We're live streaming this. If you don't know that, it's already out. People are downloading it, and it's going to be uploaded to channels everywhere. So too late. You go get a cup of coffee and stop your nonsense. You going to come back with us, Brad? Yeah, I think they permanently froze him.
That's a good one. Yeah. No.
Pardon me.
I appreciate the time that you guys, taking the time to do what you do, spread awareness, talk about really hard topics. And this is one of those definitely really hard topics. I really do hope that we have a good outcome, but I do know that either way, we are going to win. We've opened a lot of eyes. We've brought a lot of people together, and these ostriches have become beacons of hope. So either way, we're doing it. And, I just think we'll keep exposing the policy, educating people with the broken policy of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency until we get the policy changed. Hi, Brad.
It's over the target. And all of a sudden, everything went blank, huh? Go figure. Over the target. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah,
they hit the MTP button up there at the command center.
Royal Charlie MTPs. Why don't you tell us what an MTP is, Scott, since we're just on that, because this is something you came up with, and if they're an RCMP, I say RCMTP for those who are participating on the dark side. Why don't you let us know? Back to Katie. Thank you.
Yeah, you look at the iconic statue of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Obviously now taking these orders, the true abbreviation now is MTP, which stands for milquetoast pussy. And that's somebody who can't stand in their own power and push back on tyranny and accepts it and actually doesn't just back up. They actually then join forces with the satanic realm to push this incursion on innocent people. So therefore, you've now been branded. Get a tattoo, MTP. Nobody will ever have to wonder what you are, because the world knows what MTP means. Milquetoast pussy, if you're one of these people that are pushing up against your fellow man.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. We still have, our hope out of this was that there'd be more opportunity. We had those companies that were backing out when they heard what their equipment and stuff was going to be used for killing of all these defenseless, healthy animals. So
Is that right, Katie? Is that right? You had companies that said, we are not going to allow our equipment to be used to kill these animals. What companies? Do you know what companies' names are? We should let the world know who the Patriot.
I called Nufor 3 days ago when they arrested Katie and her mother. I called Nufor, Nufor, spoke to them there, and they said, no, it was misinformation. We're not at that farm.
Dareo's putting out another thing about that. But the ones that I really want to just mention, Clearway car and truck rentals out of the Lower Mainland and Abbotsford area. They went and got their trucks once they found out that their trucks were being used to come to the farm and haul death equipment.
Those are patriots.
Yeah, Sunbelt Rentals. Thank you.
Sunbelt Rental. Thank you.
Okay. We had Holiday Inn in Vernon, British Columbia. They were not allowing the RCMP to continue to stay there. They were working with they wanted because they were coming out here. And we've had companies also just pour in. We've even had a one from Alberta. I don't know the name. It just happened this morning, but offering our own surveillance camera equipment, all solar paneled and done, and dropped it off here on this side of the road so we can start to do surveillance. And people are just really being great. There's a few that have decided to just stick in there and still haul the fencing and still put the fencing up to kill these animals. But at the end of the day, we see a great number of supporters being leaders in trying to inspire these companies once they've been identified to just say, do you know what your stuff is being used for? I think you should really reconsider allowing Canadian Food Inspection Agency access to your rentals and to what you have. So we've seen a great display of solidarity, unity, and love also with people dropping off groceries, food, and snacks for people just to eat out in the supporters field, like the field of supporters. And people are continuously just rising up. We're right at a pivotal turning point right here. It's either we're going to find out or if we're accepted to Supreme Court. We're going to have to just, we're right there now. If we've waited 10 months and we're going to see where we go from here, but it's going to happen fast. I think there's some materials got submitted yesterday. So we have till Monday to respond to those materials. And
well, Katie, if you'd have told me all this good news in the beginning, you could have prevented me going Patriot Street Fighter today here. I'd have been a lot calmer. I would have been a lot calmer.
We're not done yet, so I'm just letting the world see what extra might happen if it happens.
Well,
you might go full Patriot Street.
We get to end on some good news. There are patriots and companies up there, folks, that are actually fighting back with Katie. Yes. Thank goodness. I'm going to have a better day today. I thought, I can't believe I just did a show that's going to leave me pissed off for the rest of the day. I got a lot of work to do. I need a free, clear mind, and now at least we cleaned that up at the end of the show. Let me know there's actually patriots that are on the battlefield with you. That's very good news. Very good news. And those people and those companies out there that are taking those stances, God bless you, and I can promise you, God will bless you. Because you're taking those actions. You got Tomahawk pissed off too, huh, buddy? He's pissed.
You're a beauty.
Tomahawk's great.
Just some kisses. Puppy kisses in there.
Yeah. Let me finish. Okay. Let me finish. Down.
Well, so what I really encourage everybody to do now, as we're wrapping up, once again, you have that prayer for that dome of protection. Take everybody's names, #brown shirt, just put it up on RX for Sovereign Soul. And then also on the account, Facebook account at SavorOstriches.com. So we can collate that, because behind the scenes, this is happening right now. This is happening, but we need the names, the badge numbers, the individuals who have ignored a sovereign notice from a sovereign First Nation. Somebody in the chat just said from Arizona, they're praying for you, Katie. It's awesome. And then in addition to that, where we are right now, Norman Traversy sent in an intervention yesterday, Scott, Bill C-66, and CC'd the Attorney General of the Canada, China Government Corporation, the subsidiary corporation of British Columbia. We call them corporations, Katie, on the sovereign side, because that's exactly what they are. And this is all commerce. What they're doing is all commerce, because they believe they own you as chattel with your social insurance number in Canada or social security number in the United States, which we pointed out. July 1, 1867, Canada Crown Corporation was formed in DC, everybody. Okay, so FYI. And then Charles Windsor acknowledged that it's unceded land anyway. So we also have the Alliance of Indigenous Nations involved, Scott, and they're ready with the tribunal. They're recognized by the Canadian and the ICC in Hague and the American court systems. They're ready to go as well, too. So it's big. World is watching. They laughed in Katie and Karen's face when they said the whole world be watching, and they scoffed at them. And Karen, her mother, told me yesterday on Zoom, the CFIA even laughed at them and practiced crying. Like, yeah, we cry with chicken farmers when we kill their animals too. So that's what we're up against, that type of dark deep state, Luciferian, satanic realm. But we have Christed consciousness on our side, and we need everybody in Canada, in Vernon, Nelson, Castlegar, and Salmon Arm, BC. Those are the nearest towns within a 3-hour radius to get to Edgewood, BC this weekend. Now, the Royal Canadian Milk Toast Pussies will say that we're going to close the road if that happens. But there was 140 of them in a battalion-sized convoy from Vernon to go there 3 days ago with helicopters. So you think about farmers, loggers, and miners. This is the country we're in right now in the interior BC, Scott. Farmers, miners, and loggers. And these people need to stand together, arm in arm, and broad the world, which I'll continue to do. And I know, Scott, at times you can't, because you're traveling to Europe soon too. And all of our patriots who are behind the scenes, who are not out yet, they will be. So, Katie,
you're back.
Have we heard from RFK Jr., by the way, since you're in contact with his office last 24 hours?
No, we don't have any more contact since the last second letter. But we do know that he's been trying to reach out to Carney. Carney stopped contact. and we'll just see where that goes. But again, it's, a big shout out and thank you to the Trump administration for being such a strength and seeing what we're fighting for. And I really don't believe that we would be here if we didn't have that to hold on to, and that power. So thank you to the American people. Thank you to people all around the world for standing with us and hand in hand to see us through this for 10 months. That can be a long time. And there is a bunch of people that were like, is this still happening? We're like, yeah, we're still here. And so thank you. And thank you to people like you who continue to put your voices on the line, the time to share really good stories that are bringing change to the world. So thank you.
Brad, I think I'm going to do it on my channel. I can see over here. You need to change RCMP to RCMTP. Just throw a T in there, because that describes, these aren't Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Those guys are heroes. These are Royal Canadian Milquetoast pussies. So put a T in that title right up there, as I'm going to do, because that's exactly who these people are. They are sullying the historic and legendary, iconic stature of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. It's a shame that they have people that are wearing these badges of this iconic force, and this is what they're now turning into. So that's exactly what you guys are. And the guy that's doing a little tear-jerking humor on these ladies, you are a fucking coward. You're the consummate fucking coward. You would never do that shit face to face with a man of your stature, unarmed. You being unarmed, you would never do that, because you're a pussy. But you'll do this to two ladies. Life must have been pretty shitty for you when the girls in your high school were bench pressing more in gym class than you were. That's obviously why you behave that way. So go fuck yourself, you pussies. I can't. This is what kills me about these people, is that they will only do this to somebody that's weaker or smaller. These are the people that, if they were truly in a position of power and they were running the show, they would be exactly as the commander up there is, and the people that are running this operation today. Any uniformed police officer that behaves like that to the people they're supposed to protect, your ass needs to be gone. You don't deserve a badge. Anyways, I just want you to know you're a fucking coward for behaving that way.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Katie and Scott. Truly appreciate you answering the call immediately as I drove away from the farm. There were so many others, Katie, that will be coming on board too. It was just less than 12 hours to get to a live stream. And you know how to reach us and keep us in contact as we get this message out there. And everybody, saveourostriches.com, go there. Help out, pitch in, and get over there this weekend, ASAP.
Thank you both very much. It's a pleasure to meet you, Scott. And it was yesterday, Brad. Continue doing what you're doing, and let's create some change in the world together for sure. Thank you for standing with us.
Well, you keep standing tall. You got the Patriot Street Fighter Nation behind you now.
Okay. Thank you. God bless both of you.
God bless.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Article 9 says Canada acceding to this confederation and joining in the measures of the United States shall be admitted into and entitled to all the advantages of this union. But no other colony shall be admitted into the same unless such admission is to be agreed upon by at least 9 states. So right there in the Articles of Confederation.
Yep.
Canada is part of the United States. Don't let them tell you any differently.